Welcome to JasonWhiskyWise. My name is Jason. Welcome to this whiskey review where today we've actually got a new set of whiskies, and that is the Highland Park Travel Retail selection. So in Highland Park recently, they've just recently, I think in the last 3 weeks, changed the actual travel retail selection from the Warrior series now into the Spirit animals. So you've got like the Spirit of the Bear, Loyalty of the Wolf, Wings of the Eagle, and a new 18-year-old bottled at 46%. So I was lucky to be included part of a tweet tasting, and also a massive thank you to a gentleman called Steve Rush who included me in the tweet tasting so we could get these samples to review. So if you guys are on any of the social medias, feel free to go and check him out. It's called the Whiskey Wire. So this is this entry-level one. It's called Spirit of the Bear, and this is a no-age statement whiskey. It's bottled at 40%, and the actual cask maturation for this one are completely matured in sherry-seasoned American oak cask, which is very different from sherry-seasoned European oak cask, and I'll explain that in another video. But in terms of the actual distillery, it is the Highland Park Distillery. They are owned by the Edrington Group, and they are located on the islands of Scotland, actually the Orkney Island, so where you've got the Scapa Distillery, very well known if you guys ever pay a trip up there. Now in terms of the actual price point on this whiskey, I'm going to leave a picture of the bottle over there so you know exactly how it does look. It's around about £44 here in the UK for a litre bottle in our travel retail. So it's up there with competing with some of the whiskies that are 12-year-old whiskies sort of in the market at this point in time. So it's going to be very interesting to see the character this one has on offer for the nose. Now in terms of exclusivity, yes it is exclusive as it's solely now travel retail. So you pretty much should not be able to find this anywhere else unless someone's trying to flip it on an auction site. So into the nose. So first impressions on the nose for the Spirit of the Bear. This one sort of introduces itself to you on the nose quite youthful, quite astringent, where you get these sort of sour cider green apples. There's even a hint of these pear drops, as if you opened a packet of pear drops, stuck your nose into it, you can pick out this sweeter note along with that pear character, that fruity note. There's a little note on this one, even like buttered croissants, but there's also citrus, and there's a really funky character on this one. It's almost like a dunnage, whereas if you just walked into a dunnage for the first time ever experiencing that angel share, it's like that character on the nose. And when I talk about citrus, it's more like grapefruit zest. There is a little bit of, a note for me that reminds me of like grapes, and grapes that have been left a bit too long, and they just sort of, you can smell that aroma which they give off when they're telling you they're on the way out. And that salty sort of maritime sea breeze which you get. And for me, it's sort of linked to which is a salted pretzel, but they've used fresh sea salt on the top of these pretzels. Very interesting nose to start an actual entry-level whiskey in the Highland Park range. Let's see what the palate has in store. Slanger. The Spirit for the Bear is actually quite light on arrival. It's not rich, it's not viscous. It's almost watery in texture, which is actually a very big difference from many of the whiskies I normally drink. Now, in terms of what you're greeted up with in terms of flavor profile and characters, you are getting a spicy little bit of a spice heat wave where you're getting candied ginger and a few hints of different spices, sort of mouth-warming spices. And once those are now faded away, you're getting those sour apples back in, a little bit of that salted character. You are getting red pears, notes of almonds, and a bitter citrus, almost like a citrus marmalade, with that honey note and that distinctive heather honey that comes through on a Highland Park style. Now, for a whiskey that's meant to be slightly peated, I'm actually not picking out any peat on this one, which is very interesting. So I think that's about it for the palate. It's not got so much complexity, but it has quite a nice sort of character profile to it. First time I actually tried it, to be honest, I found it very hot. But the second time trying it now, it's much more easier going. Maybe it just needed a little bit of time to breathe. So into the finish we go. Into the finish. So into the finish for this whiskey. Now, if you actually have missed my playlist into Highland Park, I'll leave a link to the top corner where I've covered quite a few so far. But in terms of my overall opinions on the finish for this whiskey, it does have a very, say, a short, medium finish. It doesn't have a lot of length. You are getting a little bit of spices coming through. It almost feels like a roasted pineapple. We get this really interesting tropical fruity character. Then you move into like a bitter character with this little bit of licorice and a bit of sweetness. And then you get a bit of oak spice, drying things out and then finishing it as it goes. So overall opinions are for the rating next. And for me, I'm going to give this one an 81. Now, for me, I like Highland Park a lot. I like the 12. It's one of my staples. But in terms of this one at price points, you're looking, comparing this to the 12. 12, sometimes I can pick it up on offer for £30, whereas this is £44. And I feel this whiskey is very youthful. It does have a nice flavor profile, and it's quite a mellow, simpler flavor profile. But for its price point, I feel it's a little bit too steep. So maybe if I saw it on an offer on the airport, I'll pick it up. But for its current price point at 44, I feel that's a little bit asking too much when I can get a really good 12-year-old whiskey from Highland Park. So overall opinions on this one. Do I think it's value for money? I think it's a bit too pricey, maybe about a good £15 too expensive. But do I think this one, how do I feel the flavor profile? It's quite simple. It's not got multiple complexities and lots of depth and character. It's got quite a simple one. And if you want something quite simple, this will do the job. The only thing, again, is the price point, which really just pushes me off the edge. In terms of water and time, water actually goes quite well, even though it's already light. It plays to its strengths and just reduces that slight youthful character, and a bit of time in the glass brings out a bit more of these sweeter aromas, which the Highland Park style can really play to its strengths. In terms of actual overall smoke, I didn't get that much smoke on it, which was very surprising to me, because normally I get that hint of smoke on Highland Park. This one, it was almost non-existent. So, 81 out of 100. Let me know your thoughts if you do get to try this one down below in the comment section. As always, guys, if you have enjoyed the video, drop it a thumbs up, as it always helps the channel. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're new, and also leave some other Highland Park videos on screen. Feel free to go and check them out, and let me know what you think if you've tried the Spirit of the Bear. But this has been me, JasonWhiskyWise, and I'll catch you for the next video. Slàinte.